It's actually a very complex moon, even though it looks very simple. So there's the shadow and the light that is always present in Gemini. There is the good and the bad guy. So there's going to be a lot of arguments. As always, people are going to sometimes look to themselves or one another for results and to provide some kind of answers. So if you're nagging somebody, if you're staring at someone and saying, when am I going to get what I'm waiting for here, you're going to probably be at your wit's end, because some of the time it's not actually the result but the drive to argue it out, to nag it out, and to try to get there. So some of the time people just have very harsh personalities. The personalities already evolved, and now we are actually seeing certain truths about each other and about each other's way of life during Gemini. And of course certain people are just not happy about who they are and what they've got going on, which is actually okay. But also have a look, take this with a pinch of salt, because some people are just really mad and they're very nervous about their results, and some of the time they're looking for another person to provide a certain type of karma or goodness, and they will be waiting until the end for certain results. So if you are waiting and asking, when is this person going to do what I want, you're going to be waiting probably for 20 odd years. Also with the Saturn conjunction between Neptune and Eros and the North Node over the ascendant line is very, very harsh. So that means to me that there's going to be some timeline changes. The Saturn is looking forward for a different path and a different type of philosophy. Some people don't know which way to go, and they're blaming themselves and another. And sometimes they're going into fights and arguments just to get things done and to feel like things are moving. And also if you have OCD or any kind of internal fight or battle with yourself, just make sure that you are not using that as your primary asset or aspect during this time. Some people are going to try to wound each other or themselves into shape. I feel that unfortunately for all of us that have ever also had very strict parents and neighborhoods where we learned and we grew up and we're expecting so much from ourselves and one another, because snake also looks for perfection. Gemini snake, perfection, looking for the best result that you can get. Some of the time this is not a very graceful or gracious energy, and it can actually collapse a process. And also very much be careful about any kind of symptoms that you have during this time that are OCD, obsessive compulsive, I can't stop thinking about this, I can't stop doing that, I wish I could but I can't. All of this sort of disarray, all this unrest could actually cause a lot of harm during the next transit. And I actually feel that in certain people's situations there is such an uptight and such a conservative way of looking at things, or there is so much fear in terms of whether you do not get that which you think you want, that can sometimes land you in such a state where you are not wanted and you're not seen by anybody. So also understand that sometimes people become trouble simply because of their obsession with life or with certain aspects of reality, and they may not be able to go through the next route or go into the next thing, because they basically made it too conservative and too stuck in its ways as to what they expect. So sometimes it's a masculine thing, sometimes people are driving themselves beyond belief, and of course they have burnout eventually sometimes, and sometimes not. It's just that they themselves become unbearable. So we're looking at character traits and the character that you're playing in day-to-day life. And this is to do with almost anything and everything that you have going on in your timeline. This is, yes, to do with also children and elders in your family, and like how things sit together as a team, as a focus point. Where are you putting the focus in your life? What is the perfectionist in you seeking? And what are the different things, pedantic things perhaps, or obsessive compulsive things that you go through during the day that may or may not actually be in truth? So it's really nice to have a look if you are putting a lot of stress on something or somebody in your life where you shouldn't be putting that stress. And what I'm basically saying is to mellow it out. On the other spectrum, we do have people that are ultra mellow and they don't actually want to do anything. They don't want to have anything happen around them. They don't want to know anybody, and sometimes they're like, okay, I'm just gonna sleep away the day, and that's going to be my path. Okay, how about that? A path without limits in my own head and my own dream time. So the ethereal nature of this time is very difficult. We do have Saturn going into a rebirth into Aries eventually. he's not very happy there as well. It's not a happy thing, Saturn Aries. So there needs to be a very nice and a very diligent and yes, and very perfected way of life. Of course, Scorpio moon would have purged a lot of the unnecessary things out, and she would have really defined us in terms of who we are and what we need and what we really want and what we should be taking care of. And of course, passing this Uranus on the 17th, 18th of May, it would have been very interesting and very nice to get all the details done and to really think over things deeply and do the best you can. But yet again, this moon, you know, the pressure and the pain of doing things and also realizing things and facing things should not really be here anymore, because this is naturally a bubbly and happy-go-lucky moon, but it does have an undercurrent. I will talk a little bit about that later. So what I'm basically feeling is that some people are using escapism, or they're using a certain escapist philosophy, or a very drab actually philosophy, to not really care about themselves, and they just want to shut their eyes and they don't want to look at that which is happening. And that is also understood. Also, there are people, even generations and philosophies that are coming through during this time, that don't want to be epic at that which they've done. They just want to make it very clear that they're not using their time in such a way that is potentially putting their life into shambles, meaning I don't want to work, I don't want to cook, I don't want to mind the house, I don't want to do all these errands. I honestly, I want to be refreshed, I want to be renewed. And here we have the hyper vigilant philosophies that are coming through, like for example, I just want to go on holiday, I just want to spend all this money on a dress, I want to enjoy my life, walk out there and enjoy and do whatever it takes to basically feel happy. And I've also seen that build up for the sign of Gemini in the last few years, as there was a question of curiosity overall. Like, I'm curious about watching these reels today, and I know that I got several things to do, and I don't care because I'm curious about that. Or I'm curious about going on holiday. I know I got a lot of debts and my credit card is bust, but like, it's fine. I'm still going to find the money to do this. So there's some wishful thinking. And I can also say that in a sense, this is not something that should really be seen as a bad thing necessarily, because I understand, recognize that it's also part of a certain type of awakening process. Like, I just want to have a happy day, and I just want to enjoy the pizzazz and the glamour and the glitter of whatever this moon provides. And I don't care if I'm, topped out. I don't care if I topped out my credit card. I'm still going to spend whatever I can find on this thing. So also, as you can tell, this is about addiction. This is about smoke in the eyes. This is about glitter. This is about wanting something that you don't actually have the capacity to generate. So we also have to be within reason here, and sturdiness goes a long way. Underneath the current of grandeur and glamour and doing things that are very exciting, sometimes it's something very dark or very strong. So sometimes it could be exceptional depression, destitute, debt, or any kind of illness. Where the person over the top wants to be as happy as Larry and give it a shot and have these really out of this world realities that are surfacing during this type of moon, and wanting so much more color and more flavor, more pizzazz and more ideas than they can actually afford. So this is something that we have to get to know if you've got that going on, if you've got that about you, if you really simply don't get it as to also why you're there, why you're doing certain things, but something is pushing you on, like, oh, what if, like, try it, you might land it on blackjack. So definitely in terms of people gambling with their time and money and with themselves, there is definitely also a certain feeling of awakening. So I can't tell you off, and it's also no good to tell these people off. Also watch if you have somebody in your family, for example, the teens in your family or someone that you love, basically go through something that they don't have to go through. Or for example, if your teenagers gaming a lot, talking online a lot, and also they picked up a recent hobby, like a new hobby, because this is a new moon, that has to do with them only, and they're really enjoying it as part of their identity. So this is hard, and should you help somebody who's going through an addictive cycle and who's spending this energy, this time, this money, these resources within like a crazy perspective or with no perspective in mind, should you be there as a sturdy person, a sturdy adult that is trying to protect them from harm? Definitely not. And the reason is because of the Saturn going through the ascendant, and he is not happy with us doing something also that we don't want. He will not help us, and he will say, okay, you want to be mom, you want to be parent, you want to be the person that is bringing the philosophy, or you want to be somebody that's special because you know the way and they don't. Well, okay, then that's another 20 or 30 years of that. So what I'm not liking about the Saturn is it can sometimes put you in a box, and it is very hard to maneuver yourself out of that box. And then also, like, in terms of personality and presence and pizzazz and natural achievement, like how you are doing it. I've also talked in the book a lot about snake year being very crystallizing and wanting things in boxes at the end of the day, or on pedestals or platforms. It is very difficult if you've also made some changes in the recent times, which may make you crystallized. For example, I'm the daddy around here, or I'm the one that pays, or I'm the one who's a supporter. So also try to wiggle yourself away, but it is hard because sometimes it comes with a certain worldview, a certain type of religious or spiritual view, or a certain type of social ideal, because we do have this Neptune, Saturn, Eros, and North Node fixation around the ascendant line. So that means as we do have these planets playing around the snowman's land between Pisces and Aries, it's a very, very difficult, very karmic thing to do. If you actually really want it and you can't achieve it yet or at all, or never could. And also if you're pretending also that you want something that you can't want. Also notice when it comes to parenting and telling each other off as friends or family or partners, because this is getting very strong, nagging. I'm the one, I'm the one that doesn't drink and doesn't smoke and does everything right, or I'm the one that, lays in bed and just waits for everybody else to cook me dinner, and I'm just sitting there and I really don't know what these peasants want from me. So that's the thing, basically. Just have a look at the different characters that are coming through, and inside these characters and these ways that you react to something and the way that you interact with other people is actually the whole world. Inside of this is very much more than you may ever even want to know. So for example, I'm actually finding that for me in my world, I've noticed that I've got certain patterns that are just character-based patterns. Like I'll call this friend and I know that I'll say this and that, and I know that she'll say this and that. And I'm thinking, am I wasting my energy? Am I wasting my time? Is this a wasteful conversation, or does it have a limit, or is there some kind of sophistication there that I'm trying to work out? Also, the question about things that go on and on, like say, that you are a character in a story that's always like, oh, well, like you are that character, and it is going to eventually become something that is a preset and that's going to follow you. So what do? Do you get out of these characters? Yes. Can you do this artificially? No. But sometimes people do this. It's like, I know that I'm always wearing white, I'm going to wear black today just to see what it's like. Or I'm wearing black and I'm going to wear white today just to see what it's like. I know that I'm always going to preoccupy myself with meanings, and I'm going to sit there thinking, well, why not try something else? So this is just about balancing out this happy and the sad face of Gemini. It's like theater. It's like, I'm a happy person, I'm a sad person. I'm a happy person, I'm a sad person. I'm a very deep thinker, I'm a shallow thinker. So all of this basically has to be taken with a pinch of salt, and it has to somehow be crystallized. I'm seeing an epic potential for having things just so. So this is like, for example, you have upgraded or gone to the next level, and you want to just protect your result. You want to protect where you are, you want to protect how you talk, you want to protect like the business that you're running, or like how you see your friends, or how you talk to one another. There is an element of crystallization within this. There's also an element of, I don't want this to stop within this. And there's also a feeling of, I got it so good, I just want to make sure that this keeps on running. So is this about looking for new results as it is a new moon? Yes, definitely also. But it is also about looking and sensing and recognizing perfection and seeing whether or not you would like to protect it for a long, long time. This is tricky business. We are going through this black and white time. This is about alchemy. This is very much also about some people's futures, and also in terms of how you structure them and how you design your life or your world, or just your timeline. This is going to be about balancing the soft and the hard, the dark and the light, the happy and the sad, the inward and the extroverted. It is about trying to put it together. And sometimes in these sequences, people actually get the best result where they previously had non-organization, they had malfunction or dysfunction, they had a splurge, like they had a fluttering energy, and they can actually join it up to a nice system that keeps things together. For example, you had a whole bunch of stuff going on in recent years, and now you understand how to take the grain from the husk and how to try to dilute certain things and kind of miss certain details. So you're coming down to this nice streamline energy, which is what we are all about during this Gemini stuff, this Gemini push for perfection and for results, and to see things greater than they were before. So also as we are going, of course, into June, I'll be doing a video for June shortly, there's a nice, neat feeling and a nice, simple step that a lot of people may want to take during June, where you are not paying any attention to that which is or isn't true, that which is out there, that which has scattered you. And this is important in terms of like scattering your energy, where you have bought something that you didn't use, where you have made a friend that you didn't like, where you've made simple steps very complicated. And it's just about a certain type of efficient, perfect and very eloquent way of merging things into this one wholesome neutral. And sometimes people don't care about it. And I get why certain people that are younger are also in certain global movements and demographics that are saying, oh my gosh, who cares? Who cares if you get it right or not? I don't care. I'm just going to live my life. Do we see perfection in that? Yes, definitely is. But there's also the underbelly of that. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'm living on my last dollar and I don't care. I'm just going to get on with my life. I don't care what other people think. Is this about what other people think? No. It's not really about other people. Pluto is an Aquarius, and also he's at a trine to the sun. It's not about other people. It's not about, for example, having a shower so other people accept you or respect you. It's not about, having a savings account because your mother would prefer it. It's as simple as a functionality, and it is as simple as also joining the dots, and from chaos came order. Okay, from chaos to order. So for example, you had a terrible time, this happened, that happened, you have several narratives that you keep on telling everybody or select few people. You keep on doing things and joining the dots in such a way where you don't actually get anything in the end. Like for example, you're working, you're not getting anything in the end. You're making friends, you're breaking up. You're doing the best you can, you're not getting anything from it. So you have to recognize a certain level of dysfunction. It is very smart to do this, but not to nag yourself about it. It's just, you just have to face it. You just have to feel it and be like, okay, cool. Black is black and white is white. I understand this is dysfunctional. And sometimes people, they really like to complicate things. Gemini moon is not for complexity. It's not about evolutionary words or very high flying ideas. It's about simple ideas. It's about things that work. It's about things that eventually make you feel a truth about who you are and what you've come to be. And it's also about having things exact to such a degree where you know that things are perfect and you can keep them going for a long time. Also, it is definitely about families. This is the undercurrent, and maybe not many people want to know about this. This is about hereditary structures and abuse stories and everything like that, and appealing to them. Sometimes it is about noticing what was wrong and what was good in that world, or it is about structuring a brand new, more crystalline, crisp, and a better alchemized idea. It's just about technology. Some of it is about technology. Some of it is about just doing good for yourself. Sometimes it is just about whether or not things matter to you or not. And it's whether or not you'd like change. It's not about change because we've already been for Uranus, but he is still affecting the sun and the moon, of course. It's not just about change, whether or not you just want to be at the optimum level. And that's where people struggle now. This is either you're fighting for it or you're trying to break out of it. For example, I don't want to do that. I don't care what I don't care what other people say. I don't care what other people think. I don't care if it looks good to someone else. This isn't not about this. This is about the whole body, like the whole body of people. Sometimes, sure. It's about the whole soul. It's like whether you are or you are not, functional within the situations that you have going on. And yes, of course, to some degree, people are urging each other to improve. There will be sometimes comments or displays that people have with one another where they are trying to show up and they're trying to get each other to notice certain things that they have not noticed before. There's a certain degree of wisdom in that, but like it's not about like the rubble of other people's experiences and other people's ideas, and also sometimes other people's communities and judgments and anything like that. It's not necessarily about being lost inside of that, although a Gemini moon will naturally bring you up through other people. It will naturally show you some of the way through other people sometimes. But it is just about whether or not things matter. If you are working at a job and you can't pay your way, if you are stuck or tired, or everything is frazzled, and you know that you have somehow forgotten yourself, or you have wasted time, you've spent yourself, or you have worn yourself thin in the last few years of your life, or just in a lifetime, this is a difficult feeling. This type of moon can help you join it together, and also it can help you with this Uranus, being apart from the moon, but still sort of in a stellium in the end of Taurus. He can still help you and urge you to make sense, to make truth, and to make it very clear where you are missing details, where things are stuck and where things are not going anywhere. And that's where also the moon doesn't really want to go necessarily. It doesn't want to consciously recognize it, because it's almost like a sadness. Like when you understand, it's like, okay, I can't get there no matter how far I push it, no matter how hard I can't do this. This is very hard for certain individuals. I'm not trying to push you into shadow. This shadow work good on a new moon generally, yes, definitely on this particular moon. Sometimes for certain individuals it can actually also be happy while they're sorting out their shadows. But not everybody is able to control their feelings. Well, limit of energy, limit of feeling. Gemini moon does not have a lot of it. Like, she doesn't usually like to give ample feelings like a Cancer moon or a Pisces moon. She doesn't really have a lot. She's working with diligence on the short spectrum that she's capable of understanding. So basically, what to be here, what to do here now. I trust that certain people may be able to look at the buzz, look at the frazzle, look at the difficulty, the hidden things that are happening between people, look at the murmurs of the last few years, or even the last year and a half, and they can actually fish out the right details and be like, okay, cool, nothing wrong with that, which happens. Like, you just have to understand, nothing wrong with that, which happened. I just want it to fit. I just want it to make sense. And sometimes there is a very simple, very sunny, and very able habit that will come up during such a new moon in Gemini. There is a very simple, sunny, happy-go-lucky person that can help you during this time, or there is just a very simple means to an end. It's not important whether or not things are perfect. Sometimes it is not necessarily humbling, but it is like realizing the potential of what some things have and what they do not. And in some very simple and very humble thinking and feeling, you could have always bypassed a lot of that which feels very real, very strong, very deep and meaningful, that has come with your parents and your lineage, with your family tree. You can bypass a lot of these toxic patterns. You can bypass a lot of the hurt and the fears, and you can even just forget a bad dream or a bad design or a previous trauma or karma during times like this, all for the sake of a new, better and more simplified future, or better simplified design. But this is not for all of us. Some people would rather go forward with their previous thoughts and feelings. So for example, you have mad, depressed or disarrayed timeline in your parents, and you definitely don't necessarily want that. Like, if somebody said, do you really want all that baggage? You would probably say absolutely not. But you don't like that part of you that says no to them, because you were taught no is not an answer. Like, no is not a way. You got to go through the grind. You got to go through the heaviness. So also have a look if you can abrupt a system, and you could say shh. So for example, this is coming from you or someone else, and you're seeing that this is going to be like a large pattern of sadness and depression, and I don't know who I am, and I don't know how far I've come, and I still don't get anything. I'm not getting paid enough for what I do, and I'm not happy with who I got around me, and the house is always a mess, and I'm not happy. Try to see it as a kind of a character trait. It's like a hysteria. If you can imagine, it's like a bird that sings a certain song, and that's the song that you're singing. For example, I'm sad, I'm depressed, life is difficult, my parents have done the best they could, but they still failed, like all of this kind of stuff. Make it very clear that you understand that this is a character. And when you have characters, you have presets. Do you just go around and round and round, and you don't actually recognize which one of that barrel of thoughts or feelings is you. And maybe you don't understand which one of these people you've ever been or have not been. And maybe all these characters are right. It's like, I am the hot one, oh, I'm the sad one, I'm the weird one, I'm the one who's always sick, I'm the one that gets sick in car rides, I'm the one that can't handle pain, I'm the one that doesn't understand which way it is that I'm going, I'm the one that doesn't have a degree, I don't care, I don't know. Like all of these different feelings and zones of self, and also selfishness, because Gemini is inherently a selfish energy. It is a brittle energy, but it has to be, because it's kind of small. It's ruled by neurologically very advancing Mercury. It is so much packed in one place. It is a small but a very healthy and very deeply shiny sign. And sometimes, yeah, it's very argumentative and bossy, and it can be petty, but at the same time, look at what it can get you. It can get you a nice, shining and very happening result, but it is a shallow one. It is a shallow one. It is a shallow one, and yeah, sometimes, like for real, it doesn't really understand how to get it any better than that. So basically what I've done during this connect, between the different things that were happening leading up to the moon, is I've made it very possible that I was not gonna stay stagnant and say, this is my house, this is my idea, this is my job, this is my thing. Also, like, so am I saying, do you need to fly away? And am I saying, is there better for you? For some people, yes. And certain situations. Is it about crossing out whatever you've learned in your household and your family tree and starting a new family tree or community? Sometimes. Sometimes it is about migration. And like, I just want things to be happy, healthy, and different. I don't want to be in the cause and effect of what I've been in before. Sometimes it is about destruction of the home and the previous methods, and saying, nah, this is not gonna do me, which is very Gemini. It's like, the past is not gonna do me. I'm gonna be happy. I choose to be happy. I choose to be whole. But believe it if you really want it, because also there's another side of this equation. So for example, if you are storming out, you're breaking up, you're breaking free, you're saying, I don't want any of this old stuff. Did you really have the root system, the infrastructure, or the coding, like the programming, to really do it in the new world? So this is where people really suck. And that's where we go, oh yeah, like, I want this idea, I want this beautiful thing, but it's like, do you really have like the finances, the abundance, the energy, or the know-how, or the smarts to actually handle that which you want? Can you handle that which you think you desire, or that which you are going to be designing next? So definitely for certain individuals, it is going to be a big question. It's like, some people have wishful thinking, some people have a lot of numbers already, a lot of vibration coming through, or just a lot of interesting sequencing. And in some cases, it's like whether or not you can actually handle it. And if you are internally robust, strong, healthy enough to do it, to do things on this new level. And in some situations, it is just a brand new version of you, a brand new version of your previous work, your channel, your business, your brand. It is a previous thing, but it has come a long way to be stripped bare sometimes of certain things, because you don't need them. Like for example, the other day, I've put away the coffee table, and I was thinking, wow, the room is so much better and friendlier without that coffee table, just like breaking up the space where there's meant to be chi. Like for example, in Feng Shui, the middle of the house, should have a lot of chi, and I'm just like, this coffee table is breaking up the chi. So I basically took it out, and there's just a rug there in the middle of the room, and that's so happy for me right now. It's like that feeling of the old being gone. So out with the old and with the new. Could this be a slogan for this moon? Yes, of course, but it has to be a reasonable change, and it has to be reasonable. It's a reasonable renewal, not just like, I want to forget and I want to be somebody else, somebody better. For some people, that shedding of the skin already happened, and the renewal is already. So as I'm doing this on the 19th of May, definitely there's no question, there's no qualm about it. It's obviously new. And it has prepared itself in a grounded way. It has been the unconscious before, and then it raised up to the top to be the obvious and to be the given. So yeah, but there's also a limit with that. I mean, to me, it also feels very respectful and very conscious to just, wait and see. You don't need to trigger yourself into, where is the perfection, or where is the beauty, the purity of my life from here, from now on. You will receive it. Some of us will eventually just get it sort of left by our doorstep, or somehow it will enter our hearts. But not everybody's there. So how to push and pull between this Jekyll and Hyde, how to face yourself, between the light of beauty and also the darkness of fear, you know, love and fear. They are different things, you know, and there's a whole yin yang thing, and like you can't have one without the other, the happy face and the sad face of Gemini, and the drama of it all. The main thing I'm saying is that watch your character traits and watch the character traits of others, because they actually speak louder than words, and some of the time basically what you see is what you get. And that's the main concept of this moon. Even though it looks very complex and it looks like it has a very complicated alchemy set beneath the surface, there are all these unseen worlds that are controlling some of this, and there could be, yeah, so much better result than you think. They could be so much better, so much better, so much better. But whether or not you are, you know, after this or not, just try to conceal your strength and your power. Try not to, for example, give it all away at once. Try to see how you can stay exact on the results that you are already getting or giving, and just make sense. Sense making is the best part of this time. So thank you very much. Enjoy. Have a look at my shorts. Have a look at my Patreon. Have a look at my Instagram is going on and such, and my Facebook. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Bye.